Well, welcome back. Today on Your Vote Counts, I'm going to be sitting in for Scott Mitchell, asking those difficult questions. Let's start off by discussing the opinion coming from Attorney General Jon O'Connor. His ruling that a state law that prohibits religious entities from operating a public charter school likely violates the First Amendment. Jason, I'll start with you.
Yeah, thanks for being with us this morning. Look, there's been a national movement for school choice across the country, and this is no different in that movement. This is an Attorney General that's using his position out of place right now to try and say that religious institutions can also be a charter school. There's a reason that we have a separation of church and state, both in Oklahoma and in the United States. There is no reason why our taxpayer dollars should be going to religious entities in order to form a public school. We already have an incredible public school system. All this does is muddy the waters and keep us from doing what's the most important thing, which is focusing on educating our kids in our traditional public schools.
All right, John, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, it's great to have you on, and I do disagree with my colleague. One thing I do agree is we have a wonderful public school system that we need to focus on making better, and charter schools are public schools. I hear this argument about money going to religious organizations. As long as you're not looking to shut off Medicaid money that goes to Integris or St. Anthony's Baptist Hospital, part of the Integris system, these are all religious-based organizations. At the end of the day, this gives parents more options. They would be public schools. They would have to follow all of our public laws. And we're talking about not violating the First Amendment, which is what that prohibition does. I think it was a great decision. There's a lot to be worked out in the end, but I think it was a good decision.
Okay, now we have a date to vote on legalizing recreational marijuana. Governor Stitt made that March 7th for State Question 820. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a referendum on how well we are doing regulating medical marijuana, and frankly, we're not doing very well. Now, I do want to talk about the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs in Oklahoma. They're doing a great job. I was very, very proud to have ran the bill that made OMMA a standalone agency. I've said on this show a million times, I am pro medical marijuana. My mother died just a week out of being in my house, and I saw what it could do to help those with diseases. But I have problems with recreational marijuana. Until we find a way to get this thing right, that's going to be the issue on the voters' mind. So while we're doing a great job with our law enforcement, I'm so proud of them, there's a lot left to go.
Do you have a differing opinion?
John and I have always had a little bit of disagreement on this. I'm in favor of continuing to legalize marijuana, but I think what's most important when we think about anything to do with marijuana is we ensure that the product that goes on the shelves for the consumption of Oklahomans is a safe product. So I absolutely agree with John that we need to make sure that we work on regulation to make sure that the product is safe so that the end user knows what they're getting when it comes to this. The other big piece of the state marijuana question is the part that deals with criminal justice reform, the part that allows someone that has a marijuana offense to have that expunged from their record. I think that that's key to this potentially passing in March.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, we're going to be talking about the grocery sales tax, where it stands and where it's going. That's next, and Your Vote Counts. Well, welcome back to Your Vote Counts. It's something you guys have been in those chairs talking about before. It's the grocery sales tax. Now, the chairman of the Oklahoma State Senate Appropriations Committee coming out this week, along with some other colleagues, saying they're hesitant to repeal the state portion of the grocery sales tax. John, what are you thinking about this?
Well, I feel like I need to preface this with Chairman Roger Thompson, the Oklahoma State Senate Budget Chairman, one of the best members of the Capitol. But respectfully, he's just wrong on this. We need to repeal the state portion of the grocery sales tax. Now, obviously, we don't need to repeal the city portion. That's where they get a lot of their funding. But inflation is at the highest it's ever been in my lifetime. Getting rid of the state portion of the grocery sales tax is true inflation relief. That is less money that you are having to spend on a necessity. It's getting rid of a regressive tax. It is wildly popular and bipartisan. And the idea that we don't need to do it because we might need it in the future, do it the way Florida does it. Simply have a 2-year moratorium, then future legislators trust the citizens to elect good people to the legislature, and then they could withdraw it if they need to. But this, to me, is an absolute no-brainer, and the House wants to do it.
Jason, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I definitely think doing it as a moratorium would be the wise way to do it if you were going to move forward with it. And I personally think that this is something that we should move forward on. One of the things that I'm most probably frustrated on this is the fact that we've turned it into this massive political football. It's opinions of the House versus opinions of the Senate. It's opinions of the legislature versus opinions of the governor's office. Look, this is a state that needs all of our elected leaders to get together on one page and decide that the most important thing is looking out for Oklahoma citizens. I know that every time I go to the grocery store for Luca and Petra and I, that bill has gone up and up and up. We're in very high inflation right now, and this is something we need to do to help the Oklahoma people and not continue to just fight over politics.
And speaking of politics, what's happening at the state capitol right now?
Yeah, what's happening at the state capitol right now is members that have just been sworn in to this next legislature are starting to look at filing bills. That deadline is coming up in early December. So you're going to start seeing a lot of stuff on TV about wild, salacious bills that are out there. Please know that the vast majority of these wild, salacious bills are never going to become law. They're just members that are out there trying to get a headline right now. I wish that they wouldn't do it. I wish that more elected officials would take that job in a serious regard, that they would file the kind of policy that's actually going to better the lives of Oklahoma citizens. But this is what people do right now, and so you should expect to see some of it.
And your thoughts as well?
Well, I do echo some of what my colleagues said. Any member can file any piece of legislation they want. I get all types of emails when somebody does something and files something that has no shot at becoming law. But I do agree, we've got to be transparent with the citizens about where we are. Now, we talked about a difference between the House and the Senate. The House wants tax cuts. We've been very clear. We want more money in your pocket. We want to continue to protect you with massive medical marijuana reforms. The Senate is coming out and doing a good job of telling us what they want, and the governor is too. We have the political process for a reason. What is happening now is members are deciding what are they going to be known for. And what I'm hoping happens is once we get through this bill filing, we come together, we work on education, infrastructure, criminal justice, we work on the tax reform, and we get things done for the Oklahoma people.
Well, guys, thanks for joining me today. And if you'd like to see more on this, you can go to Your Vote Counts pages on our website right now. And also you can follow Scott Mitchell at Scott Mitchell Talks.